I mean, you already mentioned it a little bit, but of course, the podcast focuses on kind of the impact of work from
Mhm.
these new technologies. So you mentioned that you only saw one staff member in this entire like small-ish 7-Eleven Amazon Go store. Um, I mean, I know that you only saw them for a brief moment, but did they look like bored with their job? Did they look like they were just running around all over the place, like super busy? If there's only like maybe one, maybe two people restocking all the shelves, that's it's a little bit different than I guess how things are done nowadays, where you'd have like almost a small army of people restocking shelves.
Yeah, she did look bored. It's funny you
Yeah.
asked that because she
Mm.
looked quite bored when she came out. I forget why I think she came to refill something. But yeah, she definitely did look bored, and probably because she's the only one there and she's sitting in the back,
Yeah.
it's like it's
Yeah.
almost like a security guard. I mean, even though, her task wouldn't be to be on security, but yeah, she did look bored. And when we talk about, it's funny, so this video that I posted, I think has something like 20 million views
Hmm.
across
Hmm.
across different social media platforms. And you cannot imagine, or probably can imagine, how many thousands of people commented with anger over the loss of jobs.
Yeah.
Amazon
Yeah.
is ruining and killing jobs. And it's interesting to me. I mean, that's a whole debate for another time, and there's so many different things to consider with that. But I kind of the belief system that jobs, are often replaced. If you look at farming, it used to take half the U.S. population
Yeah.
to be farmers to feed the other half, right? And now it's way less than 1% of the population is into farming. So that's what I believe when it comes to jobs. But also, I think what people fail to realize too is how many people work for Amazon, in the warehouses as delivery people. So yeah, maybe they're not working as cashiers at Safeway, but they're now working, in a warehouse in Amazon, or they're working
Hmm.
in Amazon Fresh Store, in fulfillment, or as a fulfillment in the delivery centers. So it's a very complex issue that, I know is another conversation. But yeah, the one employee that I happened to get a glimpse of at the Amazon Go seemed definitely a little bit bored.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. This is also, I mean, something that comes up on the podcast all the time, right? And I think one of the things that you're highlighting in your experience at this store, and we'll talk about the others as well, is, I mean, you're seeing a very visual experience of where jobs used to be, right? Like where people would
True.
all, as you mentioned, like high foot traffic areas, people would be seeing other people working in the 7-Elevens or in these grocery stores all the time. And now we're kind of, I guess, confronted as a culture with a new type of experience where there are no people there. So it's a very visual example of where there were people and now there isn't. But I think, as you mentioned as well, like there's maybe more people in the background, either developing the technologies, or I mean, I'm sure that the delivery systems would be still in place with a lot of people. So there's, potentially jobs that are changing, jobs that are being destroyed, of course, that are the ones that are very visual, but then also new ones that are being, or that are emerging as time goes on, when these kind of new grocery stores, in this example anyways, are being propped up.
Yeah, yeah, and another thing too. I mean, if you think about what's happening with the kind of jobs crisis in the U.S., where they can't get enough, they can't hire enough people.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's quite interesting. It kind of begs the question of, like, our job. When we talk about jobs, what is worth replacing? Do people dream about being a cashier at a
Yeah.
convenience store? Of course,
Yeah.
some people get fulfillment in that, and that's
Hmm.
beautiful, and it's great, and they should take pride in their job. But should we be crying over the loss of cashiers? That's kind of, I guess, a better question that we can be asking. And, like, well,
Hmm.
what other jobs can are created in the process, because there's a lot of issues. We talk a lot about, universal basic income and things like that, but I think there's still a lot of issues that need to be solved. I mean, the
Hmm.
homeless epidemic. I mean, there's so many different things we can get into in California particularly,
Yeah.
that we could use people working on and helping with, or even volunteering. So yeah, there's a lot of different facets of that conversation. And I find, in general, and I don't want to be one of them, in general, we people tend to look be way too narrow-minded when thinking about, oh my God, is Amazon stealing jobs?
Yeah. 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 Of course.